Coaches, on December 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern, we are hosting LA Clippers player personnel coach Dave Severance in a live e-clinic as he discusses transition offense into pistol action. The best part is that we'll have a Q&A where you'll be able to ask questions directly to Dave, a rare opportunity to bend the ear of an NBA coach. Click on the link in the description below to sign up, as space is limited. Christmas Day brings us some great presents in the form of interesting matchups that range from epic to confounding. One glance at the schedule and there's instant hype for the Cavaliers-Warriors Finals rematch, even though neither Isaiah Thomas nor Steph Curry will be suiting up. The Knicks get a national game, and while this isn't the same grudge match it used to be in the 80s, there are a lot of young players trying to establish a name for themselves. And the Wizards have been unable to sustain any type of consistency all year as they clash against the Celtics, whose hot start is way behind them and they've been limping along the last 10 games. So let's get to it. The Sixers traveled to Madison Square Garden for the early game. At one point, Philly was right in the thick of the playoff hunt, but have stumbled big time, losing 9 of their last 10 games. And a big reason for their struggles is carelessness with the basketball. Ben Simmons leads the team in turnovers, and Joel Embiid isn't too far behind. While Simmons deserves tons of credit for his excellent vision and passing ability, it's his errant passes that have plagued the offense recently, ranking the Sixers last in turnover percentage over the last 10 games. It's unclear what his issue is, but the pattern is bad passes thrown away all too often, with a hint of indecisiveness that we hadn't seen to start the year. Embiid's turnovers are even more costly, since most of them are on post-ups, an action that should generate high percentage shots and generate fouls. But when they wind up as live ball turnovers, it's a real problem, and teams have been throwing double teams at him knowing they have a good chance of forcing a turnover, even if it's just token pressure. The Knicks, on the other hand, have been playing well lately, winning 6 of their last 10 despite Kristaps Porzingis battling injuries and missing games. Two reasons they've been hanging in there is with increased playing time for Frank Ntilikina and Doug McDermott. While the Knicks take very few three-pointers, they've been nailing them thanks to these two. Ntilikina continues to improve with every possession, looking more and more comfortable, and McDermott is proving that all he needed is a chance at consistent playing time. With Tim Hardaway Jr. out for a while longer, expect sharpshooter Ron Baker to also see an increase in minutes. And their defense has crept into the top 10 over the last 10 games, primarily because they're getting great communication among all 5 players moving in unison. They're forcing a lot of turnovers with their energy and active hands. Here, they execute ice defense perfectly, and Baker gets the deflection that turns into another forced turnover. And Frank Ntilikina is turning into a guy who can completely disrupt the offense all by himself right at the point of attack, giving the Knicks a two-way player that would certainly justify his lofty draft order. Given the way these two teams are playing lately, you've got to pick the home team in this one. On to the main event, as the Cavs visit the Warriors for their first clash of the season. The Cavs have played almost zero defense this year, preferring to outscore their opponents with a potent three-point attack that has led them to an offensive rating of 3rd in the NBA. Combine that with the fact that the Warriors are only 11th in three-point percentage defense, and you've got to give the Cavs a solid chance in this one. Love, Calderon, and Korver have been stroking it for Cleveland and have benefited greatly from LeBron's gravity to generate open shots from behind the arc. On defense, their rotations are poorly organized, leaving wide-open three-point shots all over the place. Random switches with no one talking makes it easy on the offense to find the open shooters. And time and again, it continues to look like they simply don't practice much defense at all, as they don't recognize key situations, like they shouldn't switch Calderon onto the Greek Freak. And if someone like JR gets himself out of position foolishly, there isn't anyone to rotate to help and stop shots at the rim. Since Curry has been out, the Warriors have a dip in their passing numbers, but the absence of Draymond Green is almost as profound. However, it has given rise to a huge increase in minutes for Jordan Bell, and he has seized the moment, displaying a knack for getting assists with great timing and touch. He's also shooting a sizzling 68% over the last 10 games, but it's his part in the defense that is making life so difficult for their opponents. He's a hyper-athletic rim protector, but also gets out there with ridiculously long lineups that allow so much versatility that there are seemingly no advantages for the offense. He can keep most guys in front and harass them into turnovers, and Kerr can put him in alongside Looney and Durant with Clay and McCaw in the backcourt, and the other coaches will just throw their arms up and hope for the best, which is most likely a terribly missed shot. The Warriors have turned it up on defense the last 10 games, ranking second in that span, and you can see why as they can keep guys in front of them with their quickness, and if they do get beat, have the ability to recover and block shots from behind in record-setting fashion. Watch how Bell switches onto the point guard, then the shooting guard, then the power forward. It's clear the offense has very few options at their disposal. Because Steph isn't in the lineup, they still get their usual split cuts and off-ball movement, but the ace up their sleeve is Kevin Durant, who they easily fall back on to isolate and create shots when nothing else is working. And going up against the Cavaliers, who have nobody that can guard KD, plus the Cavs' defense is already so substandard, means that KD should have a huge day, and so should the Warriors. Let's talk Wizards-Celtics as Boston hosts this game. The Wizards have been up and down all season long. In their last 10 games, their defense has been stellar, ranking third in that time span. But in the last 5 games since John Wall's return from injury, they have faltered on both ends of the floor. The revelation for the Wizards has been Mike Scott, who has been their second leading scorer the past 10 games. He's been finding mismatches to isolate against and get lots of buckets, and he's been smoking hot from three-point land, nailing over 51% during the stretch. Kelly Oubre has continued to show growth as he's almost doubled most of the major box score metrics from last year. He's made a nice impact on the defensive end with active hands, plus he's shown the ability to put the ball on the floor, attack the rim, and finish through contact. His three-point shot has also become very reliable. The Celtics have come back down to earth after a red-hot start, splitting their last 10 games and seeing all of their category ranks drop dramatically. Nowhere have they suffered more than in the rebounding department, as teams have had their way with them on the offensive glass. This was a problem for them last year, and it seemed like they had figured it out. But even when Stevens goes with 2 traditional bigs, they're getting killed down there, and if they can't stop this parade, they're going to continue to struggle the rest of the season. Al Horford has also seen his shooting numbers decline all across the board, and without those extra points, it makes their rebounding issues even more magnified. The pick and pop, which had worked so well earlier, is still getting him wide open looks. He's just bricking instead of swishing. But his percentage in the lane has also declined. Either it's an anomaly and he will regain his touch, or he's already running out of gas and can't find the lift from his legs. Either way, it's something to keep your eye on, and with the way the Wizards are defending and rebounding, I'm going with Washington. So those are the first 3 games on Christmas Day. I'll be on Twitter watching all the games and sharing video clips and analysis there. So make sure you follow me for a whole new level of interaction. If you tweet at me, chances are I'll respond directly to you. The 4th game on the card is Rockets at Thunder, a grudge match between Harden and Westbrook. Check out our latest videos on both of these teams to get a better sense of what's happening in their worlds. And the late game sees the Timberwolves playing their former Minneapolis counterparts, the Lakers. All you need to know on the Wolves side is the video I just did on the worst defensive duo in the NBA, and that the Lakers have a ton of great talent that Luke Walton is slowly getting to mesh. So enjoy the holiday with your family and friends, and join me on Twitter to watch as well. And don't forget to join us live on Wednesday, December 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, as Clippers coach Dave Severance gives us a clinic on early pistol offense and will answer your questions in real time. You in?